When returning a borrowed book, if there are missing pages, experts say transparency is key. Librarians and etiquette coaches note recent rise in damaged book disputes, often caused by silent returns or unreported defects. If something goes wrong, acknowledge it, says Toronto librarian. A simple apology and an offer to make it right prevents SM all mistake from becoming big misunderstanding. You don't have to spend a lot of time in the kitchen on weekends, say nutrition experts and home chefs who promote smart cooking habits. The trend, which has taken off on social media and in lifestyle magazines this year, encourages simple meal prep, batch cooking, and the use of time-saving appliances to reduce stress.
We bring together people, resources, and education to benefit lives and neighborhoods through community gardening. From our beginnings, American Community Gardening Association has encouraged networking among members to share community gardening information, experience, and best practices. We also offer formal educational opportunities, such as local and regional workshops, webinars, publications, and online resources.
The best time to visit Canada is during fall months, when mild temperatures and vibrant fall foliage make scenic drives, hiking, and outdoor exploration especially enjoyable. Travel guides often highlight autumn, especially from late September through October, as a peak season for color changes in Ontario, Quebec, and other regions of the country. It may well change the way you live, yet again. Welcome to the world mobile commerce, where your handheld device, be it mobile phone, a personal digital assistant, PDA, or any other wireless application will soon be used for commercial transactions. Skeptical? Consider these facts. In Japan, mobile phones are used for location-based services where mobile service providers
The speaker is a marine biologist who became interested in the strandlopers, an ancient people who lived on the coastline because of their connection to sea. Their way of life intrigued him. As a child, he had spent a lot of time by the sea, exploring and collecting things, so he began to study them and discovered some interesting information.
In spite of the spectacularly high quality of life for the vast majority of the people who live in the European Union, its inhabitants seem obsessed by the region's relative decline in the world. Slow economic growth rates and high unemployment have reinforced the impression that Europe is unhappy with today and unsure of tomorrow.
Variations kept the genre alive. From the mid-19th century onwards, when mass literacy grew, adventure became a popular subgenre of fiction. Although not exploited to its fullest, adventure has seen many changes over the years, from being constrained to stories of knights in armor to stories of high-tech espionage.
Mass strandings of whales are a recurring issue in Australia and New Zealand. In recent years, multiple events have highlighted the severity of this problem. For instance, in April 2024, around 160 pilot whales stranded on a Western Australian beach, prompting a significant rescue operation by marine biologists and wildlife officers.
Schools host parent-teacher conferences 4 times a year, and it is important for families to attend. This is your chance to meet with teachers and ask questions about your child's progress. It can be helpful to write down questions ahead of time.
Globalization has affected what we eat in ways we are only beginning to understand. Modern food production no longer relates to our biological needs, but is in direct conflict with them. The relationship between diet and our fertility, our risk of cancer, heart disease, and mental illness is becoming clearer, Yet, much of our food is nutritionally bankrupt.
A study found that the research funded by the soft drinks industry had different results from research funded by other sources, and went on to suggest that they may have been biased by the research itself. The whole point of the scientific methods is to ensure the research results are not influenced by the source of funding.
History is selective. What history books tell us about the past is not everything that happened, but what historians have selected. They cannot put in everything. Choices have to be made. Choices must similarly be made about which aspects of the past should be formally taught to the next generation in the shape of school history lessons.
The physical location of a restaurant in the competitive landscape of the city has long been known as a major factor in its likely success or failure. Once restaurants are established in such environments, they can do little about their location. All they can do is work to improve customer access to their premises.
Neural networks are some of the most important tools in AI. So far, they run on traditional processors in form of adaptive software, but experts are working on alternative concept, neuromorphic computer. In this case, neurons are not simulated by software but reconstructed in hardware components. A team of researchers has now demonstrated new approach to such hardware-targeted magnetic waves.
Using an X-ray laser, a research team has investigated how water heats up under extreme conditions. In the process, the scientists were able to observe water that remained liquid even at temperatures of more than 170 degrees Celsius. The investigation revealed an anomalous dynamic behavior of water, which is of fundamental importance for the analysis of sensitive samples.
Psychology is the study of cognitions, emotions, and behavior. Psychologists are involved in a variety of tasks. Many spend their careers designing and performing research to understand how people behave in specific situations, how and why we think the way we do, and how emotions develop and what impact they have on our interactions with others.
We can see from the X-rays that at an early stage of painting, a window was painted at the left of the portrait. It seems that there may have been two windows in the initial design for the portrait, or that the window was moved at an early stage.
We've spent a lot of money over the last 70 years on flood control, and it's protected millions of people and has saved us billions of dollars. We've built dams to hold back the waters. We've built levees to keep the water off the people, and we've raised the ones that were originally started in 1718.
There were various explanations for volcano behavior before the structure of the Earth mantle as a semi-solid material was developed. For decades, awareness that compression and radioactive materials may be heat sources was discounted, and volcanic action was often attributed to chemical reactions and a thin layer of molten rock near the surface.
The word radical, from the Latin word for roots, means anyone who advocates fundamental change in the political system. Literally, a radical is one who proposes to attack some political or social problems by going deep into the social or economic fabric to get at the root cause and alter this basic weakness. The whole purpose of making notes is to aid your learning. It's important to go back over them within a day of making them to make sure they make sense and make them legible for future revisions. Also, going back over them should highlight the key questions of areas in which you want to do further reading.
In the late 16th and 17th centuries, many English, French, and Dutch immigrants went to North America in search of gold and silver, but they did not find it. Instead, settlers were forced to support themselves by cultivating crops that they could sell in Europe, like tobacco, indigo, and rice.
We seek to improve learners' experience of education at college and help them to aspire, achieve, and progress. We must embed equality and diversity in everything we do, both as a provider and an employer. We hope to prepare our students for work, higher education, and citizenship by equipping our staff with the skills to meet this agenda.
To some extent, attendance at cultural venues and events is influenced by a person's age and the composition of the household in which they live. For example, those people in households with dependent children were more likely to visit zoological parks and aquariums than people living in single-person households. Your tutor helps you make the most of your time at university by giving you guidance and support along the way. All new students are allocated a personal tutor who will encourage you to get the most out of your course, direct you to other sources of support, and help you achieve your goals.
At a time when stress levels are soaring, rates of depression are increasing, and the gap between rich and poor is ever widening, we believe that giving can play a positive role in helping people to feel connected to those around them and generate a sense of purpose and hope. When we give, we feel valued, useful, and happy.
"380 years after his death, William Shakespeare remains the central author of the English-speaking world. He is the most quoted poet and the most regularly produced playwright, and now among the most popular screenwriters as well. Why is that? And who is he? The course considers the ways in which thinkers have responded to the particular political problems of their day, and the ways in which they contribute to a broader conversation about human goods and needs, justice, democracy, and the proper relationship of the individual to the state.
An innovative new product or service can give a firm a head start over its rivals, which can be difficult for a new entrant to overcome. If the new technology is also patented, then other firms cannot simply copy its design. It is legally protected.
Agricultural problems due to climate change of normal weather, water depletion, and the collapse of soil have become big problems in all parts of the world. Many are now focusing on ethics and family farming as a way to combat these issues.
Written by 10 eminent professors, it has been updated to reflect the shifts in sociological thought over the last 5 years, making it the most comprehensive, authoritative, and contemporary dictionary available. It was essential reading for all students and teachers of sociologies and other related courses, and also for the general reader. An industry or workplace often has its own terms for certain items, places, or groups of people, and university is no different. Here we have attempted to explain some of the terms you may come across on our websites that are specific to higher education.
A total of 5 ozone ascents were taken at Indian Mission Antarctica from April to June 2016, as stratospheric temperatures reduced on the 20th of June 2016, indicating the formation of stratospheric clouds. Leading scientists feared that Montreal Accord has not succeeded to control the emission of ozone-depleting gases in the atmosphere. Food is one of the most important things you'll ever buy. And yet most people never bother to think about their food and where it comes from. People spend a lot more time worrying about what kind of blue jeans to wear, what kind of video games to play, what kind of computers to buy. When countries assess their annual carbon dioxide emissions, they count up their cars and power stations. But bushfires are not included, presumably because they are deemed to be events beyond human control. In Australia, Victoria alone sees several 100,000 hectares burn each year. In both 2004 and the present summer, the figure has been over 1 million hectares.
Have you ever pictured a world without light? Just think how much we rely on man-made light sources in our lives. Without engineers, we wouldn't be able to live the way we do. No street lights, no TV, no computer display, no house lights. Engineers design and build all these things, and they also design, build, and run.
The training of an actor is an intensive process which requires curiosity, courage, and commitment. You will learn how to prepare for rehearsal, how to rehearse, and how to use independent and proactive processes that inform you to do the best work possible for both stage and screen. To do the best work possible for both stage and screen.
Companies will want to be known not just for the financial results they generate, but equally for the imprint they leave on society as a whole. First, ensuring that their products contribute positively. Second, operating in a way that approaches a net neutral impact on the natural environment. And third, cherishing their people.
Before the discovery of Australia, people in the Old World were convinced that all swans were white, an unassailable belief as it seemed completely confirmed by empirical evidence. The sighting of the first black swan might have been an interesting surprise for a few ornithologists, but that is not where the significance of the story lies.
The elephant is the largest living land mammal. During evolution, its skeleton has greatly altered from the usual mammal, designed for two main reasons. One is to cope with the great weight of hug-grinding cheek teeth and elongated tusk, making the skull particularly massive. The other is to support the enormous bulk of such a huge body.
Long isolated from Western Europe, Russia grew up without participating in the development, like the Reformation, that many Europeans taking pride in their unique culture find dubious value. Russia is, as a result, the most unusual member of European family, if indeed it is European at all. The question is still open to debate, particularly among Russians themselves. Yellow is considered as the most optimistic color, yet surprisingly, people lose their tempers most often in yellow rooms, and babies will cry more. The reason may be that yellow is the hardest color for eyes to take in, so it can be overpowering if overused.
Efficiency is not your friend when it comes to cognitive growth. In order to keep our brains making new connections and keep them active, you need to keep moving on to another challenging activity as soon as you reach the point of mastery in the one you are engaging in.
The core of the problem was the immense disparity between the country's productive capacity and the ability of people to consume. Great innovations in productive techniques during and after the war raised the output of industry beyond the purchasing capacity of U.S. farmers and earners.
Today, telecommunication is widespread, and devices that assist the progress are common in many parts of the world. There is also a vast array of networks that connect these devices, including computer, telephone, and cable networks. Computer communication across the internet, such as email and instant messaging, is just one of many examples of telecommunication.